Well, good evening to you. We are super excited to be here. I'm absolutely exhausted, so I apologize. We are 8 hours behind here, so it's about 10 past 2 in the morning for us. So it has been at least for the last couple of weeks. So let me introduce you to the team. We'll start this end and we'll work down this end, and they don't have to stand up here the entire time. But this is Alex. Alex is from Royal Oak. Martine. He was our project manager, and you'll see some slides of what we did in a minute, but he was the one who was kind of overseeing a lot of that project. Mark, the pictures that you're going to see, almost all of those came from his camera. He was the official team photographer because I'm terrible at taking pictures. Our commissioners, one here and one here, Commissioners Roberts, they had two different responsibilities. As well as being part of the team, they also were asked to do 3 divisional seminars for anywhere from 100 to 200 soldiers and officers on discipleship and soldiership and all of those things. And so the first 3 days, as soon as we hit the ground, they were off for 3 days, those seminars in 3 different divisions around the area. And have a chance to talk with them afterwards, and they can share with you at least the travel aspect of what that was. Still looking for his notes. They never showed up. So if anyone has those, that would be great. Cynthia here was part of the team, along with our divisional commanders, the colonels. And then over this side, Jim was also part of the team. So this is the team, 10 of us. Special shout out to the McDowells as well, who did almost all of the prep work. Before we left, all of the communication and all of that before we left, and really kind of set us up to have a great trip over there. So that was our team. Unless they really want to stand up here with me for the next 20 minutes, they can go sit down and fall asleep. Can go sit down. So I'm Captain Peter. I had the privilege to kind of help lead the team over there, and so you get to listen to me for the next 10 minutes while we go through a couple of these pictures together. Hopefully this will work. So this is the team you just met. This is us at the airport. You want to know that as we travelled, especially on the way home, we had a 7-hour trip to Amsterdam, a 7-hour flight, then we had a 7-hour layover, and then a 9-hour trip on the way back from Amsterdam to here. So we're travelling for about 23 hours, so it's a good distance away. It took us a while, and some people on our team who are a little shorter than me had a much easier time sleeping on the plane than I did. Our first order of business when we got there was to be introduced to the leadership of the Kenyan East Territory, and so we had the privilege to go to their territorial headquarters, where we met the TC, and you will see in some of these pictures, as well as here as you chat with us, very often, actually every single time that we met people, we were able to build relationships, we were able to pray with them, but we also had the privilege of taking tea with them. Tea was not just tea. Tea was tea and cakes and a whole bunch of things. It's one of the things I think all of the team realized very, very quickly was the hospitality that was shown to us, the kindness that was shown to us, and just the embrace that we received every time we went somewhere. It wasn't here's a group that are coming in and we've got to be nice to them. It was, here's a group that's coming in and now they become family. We become family together as a Salvation Army. Oh, everyone just disappeared. So we were able to take with us the William Booth, our plaque that we were able to share with them and take to them. From THQ, we went to visit the Kibera slums. We've already talked about this, you may have heard about this within your core. This is a 1 mile squared slum. It's the biggest slum in Kenya. There are believed to be 1 million people living within 1 square mile, which is just incredible. You'll see the picture on the top left, some of the things that we saw, the kids on the bottom left. And then on the right hand side here, water, as you've already heard from the panel, is a tremendous commodity and one that should never be wasted. You'll hear that again and again through what we share. It should never be wasted. And this is these big black tanks that then those yellow containers are filled up, and that is where people come and purchase their water to be used throughout their time. The water that you'll see, and you'll see as we go through and see the video in a minute, the water that's just in the main system is not the safest water. And so there's a specific responsibility for taking care of good, clean water, in especially Kibera and Kenya where we're at. And this is the Kibera core, our nursery visit. This was the third place that we went on our first day. Many times we met with kids, and to see the joys on their faces and the ministry that Salvation Army was able to provide. And you'll see in just a moment, this was our big work project, something that I missed, I think, and that is coming up in a minute. It is. Something that we as a division have sponsored is the building of a new quarters. You'll see on the top left-hand side there, that is the building where the officers are living right now. That is, it's just sheet metal, pretty much. And the commissioner was asked if he would be willing to perform a groundbreaking ceremony, and the division has sponsored this this building, this quarters, which is right next to the Mathari Core. It's on the same compound, on the same lot there, and so we had the privilege to be able to see that. We were planning on actually helping to begin this process, but the paperwork took a little bit longer to start. So as we sponsored this, our project changed, and we were able to, as I said, as we went back to Kibera, we were able to take on a project there to help out there. So this is the project. You can see here that they had 3 nursery classes. This was a nursery school for the Kibera sons, for the kids to come and to learn and to get a head start. And so you can see that, especially on the top picture there, the walls are in pretty bad shape, cracks in the walls, window panes missing, all of those types of things. These buildings are not very old. You can see as well on the top left, top right, this is where we're starting to put some work in. We had 5 days. We began with 2 rooms, and we decided that, you know what, we are here and we want to make sure that this school is in great shape. And so we took on 2 rooms, we took on 3 rooms. We ended up taking on all of the 3 classrooms, the teacher's room, the teacher's classroom, the lounge, the whole pavilion, as well as then also doing all of the playground equipment and fixing 2 of their wooden play structures. So this is the beginning stages, and then from there, you can see in the top left, the wood is starting to warp, to get broken, so we put new countertops in on the bottom there to really transform these classrooms into something that the kids would be excited to see and be a part of. There we go. So you can see from the top left you can see the difference. The top left was before, and then the one at the bottom is actually the refurbished room that we had. You can see the vibrancy of the colours, and it was just a joy to be able to not just work as a team, but also is the playground transformation, but also to work with those that lived within the Kibera slums. We were able to hire some local folks that actually afterwards, after we hired them to help with the project, we actually found out that they were folks that actually attended the core, which was really cool as well, to work alongside those who live in that area, who work alongside them as we went. You can see them up the top there. Martin is the guy on the left. He actually works at THQ. He is the architect there, who puts up all of these, draws out all the plans for the projects that they're working on. And then the other gentleman next to him was somebody that we hired from the local community. Again, you can see the vibrancy of colours. It's amazing. The original playground was in really, really bad shape. And we thought, well, you know, as Americans going in, we'll do something. We'll hire a local carpenter, and we'll get those playgrounds fixed, and we'll take the wood and we'll just throw it away or dispose of it however we did. And as already been said, the use of things that we would automatically throw away was amazing to see how they took this wood and refurbished this wood. They made ladders from it, they reused nails. Quite quickly we would have just gone, you know what, that's not usable anymore. But they took something out of nothing and made something that was very practical, very useful, something that would enable them to continue the work that we had started. Sunday morning, we did 3 work days, and then Sunday morning we split into 2 different groups. One went to the Mathari Corps, which is the same corps that we were going to be building the new quarters, and this was Quarry Road. And we had the privilege here to worship with our Kenyan brothers and sisters there. Again, as kind of already mentioned, this was not a typical hour service. We began at 9 o'clock with an open air, back from the open air at 10. Then we had from 10 to 11 the pre-worship service. And then from 11 o'clock for a couple of hours, we had worship together of singing, baby dedication. Something that amazed me and amazed the whole team, I believe, was just the reverence that they have for the Lord, the passion that they have for the Lord in everything that they do. We had the privilege to take along with us some instruments. At Quarry Road, we were able to present according to them. That's mostly how they get their instruments, is by people bringing them to them. The gentleman I had the privilege to play in the band on that Sunday morning, and the gentleman I was sitting next to, his horn was held together by a rubber band. That's how his horn was held together, and every now and then he'd have to adjust it to make sure that he could still play. And so we had the privilege of presenting that here. And then the other group, we went with the commissioners there to Quarry Road, and Commissioner Bill preached there. And then the Mathari Corps. Again, the panel went there with some of the team. We had the privilege to preach there, to hear the worship, to hear the singing. And at this location, we presented a trombone to them as part of their band, as they again continue to worship in just an amazingly passionate way. These congregations were not small. We were anywhere from 200 to 300 people. And that in Kenya is an average-sized congregation. I mean, we're talking some congregations, Nairobi Central at 1,000 to 1,500, just incredible. There are more soldiers, more Salvation Army soldiers in the whole of Kenya than there are in the whole of the United States combined. So that gives you an idea of just where we're at in regards to the passion and the excitement that the Kenyan people have for the Lord. We went to see the Kabete Children's Home. It was just down from where we were staying. It was great to see everything that the Salvation Army is doing. This is a home that is provided for kids in the area. You'll see on the bottom left there that the officer there standing next to Martine, completely amazingly passionate lady who is she just does everything. She fixes things. She is in charge of everything that goes on. A passionate lady who is just so excited to serve children at the Kabete Children's Home, which is just right down the street. The little boy in the top right, he was really cool. Every time as soon as we got here, he just wanted to be held. And he just went from one team member to another team member to another team member. And to just see the excitement in his face was amazing, which is really cool. In Thika, it's about an hour away. We went to a place called Joytown. Joytown is an institution that has been in Thika since 1950, providing for kids with disabilities, providing for them in many, many different ways, providing occupational therapy, providing in just phenomenally humble ways to help these kids really realize their potential. Just because they have a disability doesn't mean that they have an inability. That's kind of their phrase. And just to see these kids and the excitement in their faces, and to hear from the teachers and the soldiers who did amazing things. We also in Thika went to the School for the Blind. This was very interesting in the fact that it was their finals week. And so as we went around, we saw these kids who were just so invested in learning and improving themselves, and just to see the passion that is behind them, and to see the passion again of the teachers is amazing. We went to a place called Variety Village. This is a place where, as kids get through their junior education, and some of them just can't make it onto senior school, you've got to also understand that every education is paid for. You just have to pay for education, for healthcare, for everything. And when you have a lot of money, then you can also go